Hello everybody and welcome to another edition of Timway Presents. Today is finally the day that the KTANE Puzzle Plethora starts. We have our first puzzle called Note Taking. The KTANE Puzzle Plethora is a collection of hunt puzzles created by Cloud Gaming and Task Thing. And I have solved this first puzzle and recorded myself live. However, it took me 1 hour and 43 minutes to do so. I will link to the full live solve in the description if you're interested, but be aware that it is relatively unedited and it is dragged out quite a lot. And therefore I've decided to make this extra video in which I walk you through the puzzle to show you how it works. And if you're still interested in how I got there, along with my friend Namdegeset, by the way, who had one of the crucial insights in the puzzle, please head over to the other video. But for now, without further ado, let's take a look. Note taking. I have gently brushed against victory for so many bombs, yet never seized it. When I saw this for the first time, I noticed the word brushed and immediately thought that it might refer to brush strokes. But for some reason I forgot about that pretty quickly again afterwards. However, it turned out that was the correct idea. So here is how the puzzle actually works. Each of these note to self refer to a color. For example, this one here uses correction fluid, so that is referring to white because of whiteout. The next one here says a glass of something similar to lemonade. This is referencing the word lime, or the fruit lime, but either way, we're looking at lime. The game with cowboys from 2018 is Red Dead Redemption, which I had heard of, but I had no idea that it had cowboys, so I needed Google to find that. Prince's sixth studio album is called Purple Rain, so it references purple. The boat on a river with tangerine trees is a reference to a lyric in the Beatles song Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds. Alicia Beth Moore is the birth name of a singer named Pink. And finally, Jill Stein is a US politician for the Green Party. So let's take a look at all of these, and let's see what the brushstrokes module actually wants us to do. So as I said, this first one here refers to white, and under white we see the value of X from character shift. So let's take a look at the character shift manual, and X says it's ports plus serial number letters. Now it has quite a lot of ports here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, plus the serial number letters we have 12, 13, 14, 15, so we end up with 15, which I assumed was a number between 1 and 26 and therefore can be converted to a letter, so I thought that was an O. Next one, a refreshing glass of something similar to lemonade is referring to lime, which wants the last two table digits from burglar alarm. Now here is the original burglar alarm manual, but I have a rearranged manual which I feel is a little easier to read. Let's take a look at the last two digits, 7 and 8. Do we have more than 4 batteries? Yes, we do. It's 5. Do we have any unlit indicators? No, we do not. It's only a lit sig. So the answer is 2. And I'm going to write down that this is lime. I should probably also write down the module names. And so this would be burglar alarm. And I claim that that is a 2, followed by, do we have batteries equal to indicators? No. That is 5 batteries and only 1 indicator. So we're looking at this condition. Does the serial number contain ALM 3 or 5? That is a no. There is no ALM 3 or 5. So the next digit is in fact an 8. So at this point, it should have become clear to me that the theory of it going from 1 to 26 and being converted to letters must be false, because 28 is outside that range. However, I continued with that theory, and I tried to think that, maybe something similar to lemonade is a lemon, so maybe it refers to yellow. In fact, in a previous version of the puzzle, it said the opposite of lemonade, so I assumed it wanted the opposite color of yellow, which would have been blue, and then of course there are 2 other shades of blue in this manual, So I spent quite a lot of time on trying to get a letter in the range 1 to 26, to get a number 1 to 26 that I can convert to a letter. Um, but it turned out that's not it. Let's continue. I really didn't like this bomb that much. I'd rather be playing Red Dead Redemption. So red in this manual refers to the initial code from 2 bits, which is of course, again I have a condensed manual here, which is of course the leftmost letter in the serial number, which is a Juliet, so that's a 10. We're looking at 2 bits right now, plus the last digit of the serial number times the number of batteries, which is 9 times 1, so we end up with 19, which would have been a Sierra under the theory. But I can tell you now that we're not going to convert these to letters in this manner. We'll see that in a second. So Prince's sixth studio album is called Purple Rain, so this refers to the color purple. The first 5 bits from tennis are converted directly from the first letter in the serial number, which is in November, so we get this kind of code here. And if you convert that back from binary, you get the number 19, the same one as before. Then we have the boat on a river with tangerine trees. Initially, when I first saw that, I thought that because a tangerine is kind of like an orange, I thought it referred to orange, but it turns out it's actually a lyric. Picture yourself in a boat on a river with tangerine trees and marmalade skies. And the name of the song is Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds. So we're looking at sky, and we're looking for the global offset from safety safe. Now the global offset from safety safe is the number of port types. There are 2 ports, but it's the same type of port, so it's a single parallel port. I made a ridiculous mistake here in my live solve where I had safety safe for one of the earlier, like here I think, and then I just moved the answer down to here as if it was going to be the same answer even though it's different edge work. So that was a little bit embarrassing. So for sky, we're looking at safety safe, and we want 7 times the number of port types, of which there's only 1, so that's a 7. Then we want 5 times the number of lit indicators that have a matching letter in the serial number, which this one does, so that's plus 5. And then the unlit indicator is plus 1, because that one also matches multiple letters, but it only counts once. So we get a 13. So that's that. This bomb was really difficult. I wish I could be as good at KTANE as Pink is at making music. So this is Pink, and Pink refers to the number for finding the school from module homework. Module homework, again, we have a condensed sheet for that, optimized manual. Do we have a lit bob? If we did, the answer would be 0, but we don't. So it's not. We take the serial number's first digit, check if it contains SCHOL, and it does not. Does it contain a vowel? It does not. Do we have 2 or more D batteries? No, we do not. Do we have an FRK or NSA indicator? We do have an NSA indicator. Again, another embarrassing mistake. At one point I misread this as IND, and just got the wrong number. So we want plus 2. Do we have any indicators containing STUDEN? Yes, NSA contains an N, so that's another plus 2. And finally, a parallel port. We do not have a parallel port. So the module homework number we get here is just a 7. And finally, Jill Stein obviously refers to green, which means we're looking at the total number of seconds from the stopwatch. Now I had a lot of trouble with this one because my theory required numbers to be in the range of 1 to 26, and because this one says the total number of seconds, all of these values are more than 1 minute and therefore greater than 60. The only value that isn't is 1 second. And it turns out that the serial number does have 4 digits, 6288, and they seem to be intentionally chosen to make this division here work, because if the numbers were not divisible you'd have to add, but they are divisible. 6 divided by 2 is a 3, so that would be x, and then 8 divided by 8 obviously is a 1. And since x equals 3 would be the right value to get the magic 1 here, I assumed that maybe this the fact that y gave me a 1 might be a mistake, or I might have made a mistake, but it turns out this is actually the correct number that we want, 3 minutes 22. Let's write this down. Stopwatch is 3 minutes 22, which is of course 3 times 60 plus 22, we get 202. Alright, now what do we actually do with these numbers? It turns out we don't actually want to convert them to letters using A1Z26, but there is one other thing that we can do, which is to follow through with the brush strokes manual. On the next page it tells you to subtract 35 from the numbers to take them in the range, to bring them into the range 0 to 34. So let's do that to all of them. These are already in order, in range rather, but the 202 we need to subtract 35, or rather modulo 35, and we get a 27. The next thing is to add 1 to your number, so that becomes a 28, that's an 8, that's a 14, that's a 20, that's a 20, that's a 29, that's a 16. And now we need to look up that number in this table here, and we get a symbol. And you will notice that some of the symbols actually resemble letters. So I'll tell you now, this is what's happening. So number 16, you can see it's 5 in a row, so this would be 5, 10, 15, and then 16 of course is this one. So that gives me a Sierra. So we have an S. And then for burglar alarm 29, because this is 10, 20, 25, 29 would be this one here. That is quite clearly an N. Number 20 would be this one here, so that's an O. My apologies, that's an O, and we have the same number twice in a row. Number 14, well, this is 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. That looks very much like a kilo. Then we have an 8, which is this one here, that's an E. And then finally number 28 is this one. Now when I first saw this one, because I did actually investigate this theory at first, but we had the wrong color for the opposite of lemonade. We thought that was blue, and I didn't get the right color here either. So at this point I just put a question mark here and here because I didn't get sensible letters for those. And then for this one I looked at it and I immediately said, well, that's not a letter either. And it is a little bit far-fetched to think of this as a Romeo, but given all the other letters, putting a Romeo there makes sense because it gives you the correct solution, snooker. And this is how you solve note-taking. Once again, this was obviously not a live solve. I just walked you through a puzzle that I had already solved. During the live solve, I had to contend with a puzzle which changed over time. I'm not criticizing that, because obviously it's a good thing that the author responds to problems that surface while people are trying to solve the puzzles. So I think this is a really cool puzzle. The idea is very creative, very sound. You take the rules from one module, which in this case is brushstrokes, which references other modules. That itself is a great idea in the module brushstrokes, but then to use these symbols to look like letters is pretty clever. I really like this puzzle, and I hope that the rest of the KTANE Puzzle Plethora will shape up similarly interestingly. So thank you very much for watching. That was note-taking, and I hope to see you again soon on the next puzzle. From now on, I will try to do live solves for every puzzle. In cases where it might take me a long time to solve the puzzle, I will publish an edited down version as well, but I will always publish the live solves if I get to record them, and I hope that you will enjoy them. So see you around. Goodbye.